Yeah, no, this is an infamous scene because of said snot. I was actually blown away at how unaware she was of the moisture surrounding her mouth and nose. You would think that if you have a large splotch of viscous spit on your chin, you should probably, I don't know, wipe that off.
I've dumped girls for less, I'll tell you that right now.
Hi, hello, and welcome to another brand spanking new episode of Another Bachelor Podcast. We're back, baby! Woo! We're on the precipice of another season, which means ABC has put out an episode of television. Was it good? No, but we're going to get there.
I'm chomping at the bit.
Okay. All right, let's just jump into general thoughts. If you're a new listener, this is, usually the first segment of the show. General thoughts. And Nick, explain general thoughts to the listeners, because it's a complicated segment.
We just kind of, in one sweeping generalization, talk about the entire episode very quickly.
Yeah.
I thought this episode was incredible. I had chills at moments.
Yeah.
Wanted to be part of...
Chills, huh?
Yeah, just the classic moments in Bachelor history, and we're about to embark on the journey again. I'm excited. Pat, what were your general thoughts?
Well, I was yelling at the TV the entire time, Bachelor producers, go fuck yourself. But then I was watching the show with my wife, who's been watching the show longer than me, and she absolutely loved it. So I had to live through her experience of just the fun little moments. They went way back to season 1 of The Bachelorette with Trista.
Yeah.
And she enjoyed it, so I have to see it through her eyes. Just like I don't like kids. But my understanding is if you're going to be a father, even though you don't want to get up in the morning and open Christmas presents, you need to enjoy it for them.
I think that came out of left field, but I will say most fathers.
Out of all the things that fathers are reluctant to do,
Thank you.
waking up on the most beautiful holiday of the year is not among the top 500. You are going to be a great fucking dad, Pat.
Thanks, Dill.
All right, do you guys want to get into this show?
We should.
All right. So a couple things. I think we as a team need to try and kind of summarize what this episode was before we jump in, because the structure of it was absolutely bananas.
There really was no rhyme or reason.
Right? Yeah. No, it was like Guernica. You know that painting where all the horses are getting blown up?
You've referenced.
I love that painting.
You've referenced it a number of times,
Yeah.
and I'm starting to get the reference now when
Right.
you use it. But yeah, so they gave us some best moments in Bachelor history, which we see every beginning and end of season,
Yep.
the last 7 seasons we've watched.
Thank you.
We hop on the tour bus, and we see some of the spots around Los Angeles that classic moments of Bachelor history happen.
Much like the Iliad, they use the tour bus as a muse to take us through this story.
That was the through line, but that was actually the only produced segment.
Now, speaking of tour buses, Pat, you've had some interesting experiences in the seedy underbelly of the LA tourism
Yes, I
industry,
have.
right?
I actually knew the tour company that had been wrapped with the
Right.
Bachelor logo. It was
Yeah.
a company by the name Starline.
Right. Now, Pat, can I ask, was it corrupt Bengalis that you were having problems with in the streets?
The people from the Middle East run rampant down there through all the various stores on Hollywood Boulevard. The Hollywood Boulevard, or the Walk of Fame, is actually a 2-mile area. And various storefronts owned by people that I believe cut the heads off of people in the countries of origin where they were from.
Okay, enough about beheading. Let's get to the first package that we see this evening. What was the theme here?
They donned it as best moments in Bachelor history.
Okay.
And I started to list them out, and I faded. But it did start with Ashley I
Right.
and that other chick in the desert.
Yeah, no, I thought it was funny that Ashley said that she's intelligent, but then she says that she's from 2014 now. 2014 is not a location, and if you're from a time, you should say the year that you're born. You didn't just spontaneously come to life in 2014, Ashley. And then the other one, the other bozo does this really funny thing where she goes, "She's here, I'm here. She's here. I'm here. A nice visual representation of the hierarchy of character between them. Yeah.
Since we are audio only, Dylan was moving his hands up and down.
Yep. And a question, gentlemen. I understood. I didn't understand what this package was. Did it end with us watching Colton jump over the fence?
No, that was the next clip, though, and that I have that tallied up as the 78th time that they've shown it. They go to a moment from Jason Mesnick's season. I got to say, the Chirons are not helpful here at all. I don't know who any of these people are. I came into this show late, as did 90% of the audience watching this show. Okay? Give us some names. Don't just say the season. I don't know who these people are.
In that particular scene, I dubbed her Nose Picker.
Yeah, no, this is an infamous scene because of said snot. I was actually blown away at how unaware she was of the moisture surrounding her mouth and nose. You would think that if you have a large splotch of viscous spit on your chin, you should probably, I don't know, wipe that off.
I've dumped girls for less. I'll tell you that right now.
You know, I thought it was funny that they next play a package of proposals, which begins with footage from 1997. I have no GD idea who these people are until a little bit later. Pat, do you remember the first two people? Had you tuned in?
Tristan and Ryan.
That was it?
Yes.
That was the very first one.
It was a very good season. I actually, the first season of The Bachelor was a phenomenon with Andrew, who I believe has come out as a gay man since then. Yep. A Harvard graduate, businessman, and he was the Bachelor. They don't come like that these days. And he dumped Trista. She was the runner-up and then later became the Bachelorette. That scene where he dumped her and her limo ride, that started the franchise of her freaking the fuck out. Yeah, so it touched me. It touched me.
Okay. Good. Well, you know what? Speaking of touching, great segue. Bachelorette secrets, right? Our first one is Becca, and she says that, little secret, when her and Garrett were in the fantasy suites, they broke the bed. Sorry, Mom. Becca, that's filthy.
It's filthy, but what she didn't tell you is because Garrett ran in the room and started jumping on the bed. He just loved it. But no, I will say I like those two.
Yeah.
They seem like regular people from my hometown, and maybe my favorite couple
regular
I've
old
experienced.
Midwesterners scrolling up the IG feed, double liking shit that hates that. What's that young man's name? The Florida shooting? A crisis actor. What's the guy's name?
Oh, David Hawk. David Hawk.
Thank you.
I'm sorry. You said Florida shooting, and he wasn't there, so I didn't realize.
Sorry, Colorado. Where was it?
No, it was in Florida, but I'm saying he wasn't there.
Oh, got it. Jeez, I'm so far behind. So let's get to the tour. We've got some filthy yuckies on the bus, and
we have parallel thinking because
Yeah.
I was going to say I donned this the filthy yucky normie tour.
I mean, it's filled with them. It's absolutely filled with them. One of these poor young ladies steps up and says, "This is the best day of my life."
And I'm not even going to make fun of the young lady because all I was thinking this whole time is why the shit weren't the three of us on that GD bus?
Yeah.
Where were we? Honestly, I blame me.
Yeah,
I'm the
I
one
blame
that-
you too. I blame you too.
I usually have the inside scoops on these.
You come up with the stuff. You're like, we got to go to this, and me and Patrick are like, I'd rather kill myself, and then you send it again, and we're like, I'd rather kill myself.
And on occasion I go alone,
Right.
and I should have been on that bus next to my big Asian friend, who we'll get to. I don't want to get in my head of self.
One of the first clips they play, they talk about this really cool moment on a high wire that nobody cares about, which Shitface Harrison refers to as a death-defying stunt. Ah, man, what an episode.
Yeah, death-defying. I haven't seen that many ropes since the Elastic Jungle on Guts. Do you have it, Guts?
So then we've got Capitol Records next, which is one of the most, according to Shitface, one of the most famous buildings in the world. I don't think anybody... I don't know. Do people know Capitol Records?
I was excited to see it, honestly, when I came to LA. And I drove,
really? Okay.
You can see it from the 101. I was like, oh, I've seen that before.
From Entourage.
Probably.
A few fun facts, gentlemen, about the Capitol Records building.
Yeah.
It was built with the intention of it looking like a stack of records. The kids don't know what those are these days. But
Yeah,
those
they
were
failed.
Yeah, they did. They were and bad listen on them, too. Like you're hearing that a lot of fuzz or something in the background. But at the top, it has a light that flickers at night overlooking Hollywood, and it's Morse code, and it says Hollywood in Morse code.
Oh, wow.
Fun
That
fact.
is a really fun fact.
I'm excited. I learned something. Even if this podcast goes in the shitter, I learned something.
Which
today.
it has.
Yeah. Can we not? We're going to move on from Capitol Records?
Well, I know I was just going to talk about how, I generally didn't like going back, but I looked at these clips and, this one of Becca and the rat face Chris, I refuse to call him by his nickname that he's so, lovingly called now. He's an absolute scumbag.
I think they've actually ditched the goose. But,
have they?
Yeah, Nick knows too much.
But anyways, this scene when she sings is just so funny. It is one of the most memeable. It's so unbelievable.
We're talking about the moment where she's sitting by the piano with Richard Marx.
Yes.
Of course.
Well, Dickie Marks.
Yeah. And you were going to echo a similar sentiment.
Just that, I really liked that moment. It was pretty embarrassing. She was horrible.
She was so bad.
Fun stuff.
All right, guys, we've got to go to the longest kiss landmark. It's a very famous landmark in Bachelor history. Now, this is when we meet a real life couple.
I don't think so.
Phew.
Chris was introducing what had happened between Sean and Leslie. It was kind of surreal because I've been a fan, and then now we get to relive those moments. So we had to kiss each other. So it's a lot of fun.
And again, audio only podcast, but then we witnessed one of the most passionate, tender kisses I've ever seen.
Right.
I should have been sitting right next to that
It's
couple.
strange. Yeah, you should have, but it's strange because it looked like two bowling pins that were inverted and had faces, and they were just ramming into each other.
The pieces did not fit.
And she doesn't say a word.
NBI.
What?
Not buying it.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, no.
By the way, this is an audio medium. You can totally tell by that guy. No way. No way.
Nice initialism.
I was literally about to call it by its correct terminology. And then you said that stupid fucking word again. So anyways, Sky Space.
Take it up with Minya.
I'm not going to take it up with Minya. She's just objectively wrong about this, and so are you. You're a blind follower. Blind followers are dangerous. Dogma, whether it's from Jesus, the Catholics, or Minya. I mean, it's dangerous.
I will say I was really disappointed with Mignon. She was trying to get some SEO going on Cinco de Mayo, and her article was the correct way to pronounce Chipotle. I mean, avid readers of Mignon do not wonder how to say that word. Okay, it disgusted me, to be honest. I almost sent you the screenshot.
I wish you would.
I wish you did, dude. I would have been pissed all day.
So let's go up to Sky Space. We've got a surprise on the top floor of this building, and it's a real asshole. Nick Viall is at the top, and we get a carousel of people who come through, and then Nick proceeds to say horrifically rude things to each and every stranger that sits down. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've got a couple of these people. Who do we want to get into?
How come they ate with the fat one? I thought that was rude.
Okay.
I'm
Right. Okay. All right.
pointing out the elephant in the room. No pun intended.
I got it. My favorite thing was when he goes up to that one woman. He's like, "So, what's your tragic story?" Like he's fucking Matthew McConaughey and Dazed and Confused. He's like, "What's your tragic story?" And she's like, "What?" And he's like, "That's how this works, don't you see? What's your tragic story?" And she's like, "I have a husband. I have 2 kids. Like, I don't have a tragic story."
I was with him on that one, though, because, what kind of super fan doesn't understand the trope of telling a tragic story at dinner? It pissed me off.
Nick's having fun here. He enjoys having these girls sit down. Let me say this about him. He is a very, very good looking guy. That being said, the look that I saw, I don't know if they shot this in the morning. He looked a little bloated. He looked a little tired.
Yep.
And I'm just saying this from personal experience. The guy's been plowing through Hollywood, drinking probably 4 nights a week, hooking up with girls, doing drive-through after you sleep with a girl and you're getting the fuck out of there.
Yep. Curly fries.
Everything in his face, sitting at that table, and also now a little bit more cynical than we've ever seen.
A little bit?
Or a lot cynical. Because that's his new character.
Yeah, that's his character. Chris Harrison says, "What happened to you at the end?" He says, "A lot."
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, it was very, very cute.
I think his whole cynicism was played up at most in that ice cream commercial that we all took note of.
Of course,
which was
of
wonderful.
course. Yes.
But that's your new shtick, dude?
Yeah, I kind of like that shtick. I'm a fan of cynicism, contrary to what Conan O'Brien said in his famous speech. "I hate cynicism. It's my least favorite quality. If you are kind and you work hard, great things will happen to you." Conan, eat a dick. I like cynicism. Shut up. You love that speech. And I fucking hate that you love that speech. You know what? I fucking hate Conan O'Brien for giving that speech.
And a real quick impromptu errors and omissions. He says, if you're kind and you work hard, amazing things will happen. I promise you, amazing things will happen. It gives me chills every time.
I don't hate Conan. I think he's wonderful.
Whoa. If we're going to go down this fucking wormhole, let me bring this up about Conan. And I fucking hate Conan.
Okay.
All right. So,
I just wanted to tell you, I don't. So I was kidding about that. But if you want to...
Hold on.
Okay.
I hate Andy Richter.
For you guys that know Conan O'Brien, or you don't know who he is, all right, so he's a late night talk show host who took over Jay Leno's spot, actually had lobbied for it for years and got this guy who had highest ratings kicked out of his spot, was mad that Jay Leno wanted his fucking job back because he took his job. Guess what Conan O'Brien did later on? Jumped over at TBS. George Lopez had a late night show on there. Conan ended up being on before it, lobbied to get this motherfucker kicked off, and George Lopez's show got canceled because as a result. Fuck you, Conan.
It's like somebody's fair and balanced over there. That's a spin zone if I've ever heard it.
I'm kind of somewhere in between. I love Conan, but I did not like his whole woe is me act after Jay wanted his job back. He got paid out in the high tens of millions of dollars for leaving the late night show. Couldn't be on TV for the next year or two or whatever it was. So he just toured the country, again, just printing money. And then he got a huge contract from TBS where he has creative freedom to have the show Conan wanted to do. I can't feel sorry for the man, but I am a fan.
And this ends our segment, The Late Night Wars. So I just want to...
It'll be coming to you every week. Don't worry.
So put that on Patreon, Nick.
Really quickly want to just rattle off a couple things. So there's the threesome that is offered. An olive branch extended to Nick. They are two large women. And
two grandmas.
Yeah.
Well, one was old. The other one seemed like the daughter.
She said 2 grandmas.
Yeah, let's go.
She pointed at each other.
Let's go 49 and up, I'm going to say, which is fun. Glad they've still got that spunk. And then the Mormon gangster gays. Now, these are these guys that are buttoned up all the way to the neck. They look like Latter-day Saints. But then the two sizes too big thing, it's a very, very weird look. And also, the hairlines were tragic. Okay, let's get to past Bachelorettes.
So we're catching up with them. This was my favorite one. Like, what are they up to now?
Yeah. I really like this as well. Do you want to get to Allie?
Yeah, I would love to talk about Allie. Didn't know who she was. Really liked her. Seemed like a sweet girl. Was unabashed about her fandom for the franchise that gave her the life that she now has.
Yep.
And seems like just a nice family woman. I really liked her.
Is this the one that had the talk show?
No,
it was not.
This is the blonde one.
All I had about Allie is her most important role now is being a mom. Yeah, right. After you lost your E! Network contract, now being a mom.
Now, is that made up, or do you know that?
No, she was a host on the E! News for like a season and a half, and they kicked her the fuck off. God. And now she writes a blog, and her new role, her most important role, is as a mom.
All right, let's get to somebody who's not having kids anytime soon. That's Caitlin Bristow. What's there to say about this young lady other than her? I don't want to be mean. I know she can handle it, but it's a really strange thing that's going on with her skull. Right?
It's odd.
Extraterrestrial. It's bizarre. I think archaeologists could have a field day with that thing if they found it in the dirt.
She has a lot of money to play with her face, with all the fillers and all that skin creams and all that shit. She looks weird.
Yeah. Do we want to talk about her and Jason's relationship?
Well, hold on. When she was asked what she's up to now, she had 3 things going on. She's breaking out in the hot. Apparently, there's the scrunchie business.
Right, that's right.
She's got a podcast, which we know in the podcast biz, we cannot deny her success in that.
No, we cannot.
And she's dating Scott Baio.
Got it. So
I think she's got a wine coming out too.
Yeah, she does.
So who's really the boss? Am I right?
Yeah, that's true.
Tony Danza.
Oh, not Scott Baio.
So let's go.
No, we cannot skip over her.
No, we're going to Jason.
Okay, but not that yet either. He mentioned the success of her podcast.
Yeah.
It certainly is a juggernaut, but I will say, I think it's a complacency some podcasters get to when they become very successful, and the quality has really dropped.
Really?
This is
We're talking about Off the Vine.
Yeah, Off the Vine.
Damn it! What do we say every fucking time we walk into this studio?
We're not going to give that piece of shit podcast the airtime.
We always say that.
Oh.
But anyways, and this is all based off recent iTunes reviews and I want to read you one. If you go through it, it's a bloodbath as of late.
Yeah, it's like Guernica.
It certainly is. But this one's titled Terrible by Margot Baker. 1 star. Used to love her, but now I think she's going through some major issues. Maybe she needs to lay off the wine as she slurs through her whole podcast. She shouldn't even have guests because she clearly just wants to be interviewed and talk about herself. Honestly, so cringe to listen to her read through ads in her professional voice and talk about things she clearly does not know anything about. All caps, yikes, 2 exclamation points, mic drop. That's the one I meant to read.
Whoa.
Wow.
I mean, we've had some pretty bad reviews, but that one's... That hits at the heart.
Yeah.
And it was
Accusing someone of drinking too much?
Who does that?
So let's move on to Deanna Staganino. She was very aggravated at Bachelor. Then we get into this bizarre identical twin story, and I'm feeling like we should just not talk about her anymore.
I'm cool with that.
Yeah, so let's move on to Jillian. I am so happy for this woman. She is doing so well. The finishing in her kitchen, the molding, the marble, and the white cabinets are absolutely magnificent. They are the indication of somebody who's doing well. Now, it's hard.
Or lives in a city where it doesn't cost a lot to own a home.
Well, I mean, there's that too. And you know, this gets to my next point, because while all that stuff is very nice and the light pours in naturally and beautifully, it is hard to ignore that her and her husband were drinking C- Prosecco on its own, which is a sign of the uncultured. So I'm happy for her, but I mean, you know, at the end of the day, swine.
What were your thoughts on the flutes?
The flutes were, I mean, anybody worth their weight in salt knows you can't. You can't drink sparkling wine out of flutes like that. They're meant for morons on the East Egg that think that they're
Cultured?
I didn't know this. East Egg, is that where the Gatsby? Great
I don't
Gatsby?
even know if it's the right one. So Pat,
Well, I something came out of her mouth, which I didn't. I want to call her on. She said she was the host of Love It or List It.
yeah.
I watched that show with my wife on Sunday. We do marathons with that. It's an old, tall English woman, looks like she's a complete bitch, and some guy who's balding. And the whole premise of the show is you can either fix up your house, your current house, or go buy a new one. I've never seen Jillian. I'm pretty sure Jillian has a look. Okay, that's all I'm going to say. I'm pretty sure if I saw her on the screen, I'd know who Jillian was.
I have a lot of bullet points for the Bachelorettes because it was early on the episode, so I was really still in my note-taking mode. My first bullet point for Jillian, least attractive.
Yes. Now, hey guys,
Men.
hop over on to iTunes reviews. Give us, click on 5 stars.
Wait till we get 25 guys. We're going to rip their aesthetic
We're
apart.
equal opportunist assholes. We judge.
All right, let's get to the biggest asshole of the bunch. That's Neil Lane. Now, from the side profile, he looks like Gilbert Gottfried. Now, that is quite an insult, but I'm just telling you, like, from a side profile, he looks like the Affleck duck.
I think he looks like a deflated John Taffer.
Very interesting.
He looks like an old foreigner that's trying to stay young.
Now, it's funny because he begins this soliloquy on the bus about his gift, what he provides to the world. That is, he brings out what they think, and he's talking about the men. He brings out what they think about the girl, how they dream about her, and he guides them to the ring they want. I would go so far as to say he only does one of those things. Out of the 3 things that he listed, he does one. Your rings are gaudy and extravagantly tacky. You're pissed, Neil.
Neil Lane, more like real lame.
Nice.
Let's get to Polly, the stage manager, who's a new face, quite an important figure in the Bachelor world. Leather beret, fan of a leather beret. You know, we see him in action escorting a young lady that fucked a staffer out of the mansion, which is an absolutely wild move. It looked like it was early on in the competition. I don't know logistically how one accomplishes that. Obviously, you develop lust quickly, you drop the camera, and you bang one of the contestants. I don't know. Seems unprecedented.
It was amazing. The behind the scenes, when this story broke, it was awesome. Because to think like all those girls are there and then like some guy who's like a side producer, like having sex with her. when they're off hours of not filming. It was pretty amazing.
It's the stuff legends are made of.
And not the first time. Later on, it happened in Bachelor in Paradise, where two people were caught in a hotel room 2 days prior to the filming starting, and one of the producers jumped out of a window to not get caught, and he broke his fucking arm on the drop.
No way.
Yes, so you Bachelor Nation fans that listen to this podcast, you remember that story well.
Wow.
We got Amy Kaufman behind the glass.
Don't get it.
She wrote a book about The Bachelor.
It was amazing.
Because, I mean, these are scoops I've never heard. That was an incredible story.
Yeah, those are really good stories. We have to get to the best part of this episode, and that is the package of bad boys. Now, good God. I mean, Greeks, eat your heart out. I mean, you can't make up tragedy like this. Let's get to Wes first, who Jillian said that she liked but needed to protect herself from. He's a bad boy. It turns out that Wes went through some shit.
After the show.
Yes, after the show, that being a half-decade spout of homelessness. But let's just play the entire clip because it's not made up and one of the funniest things I've ever heard on this show.
Thanks to the Bachelorette, man, for giving me my start. She comes on strong. Daddy, it's hard to hang on. Now I live in Austin. I travel a lot. I'm in Houston. I own a construction company. I'm still with it, you know. I'm still playing, and I think the difference between me now and then is that you have a tendency to be humbled by life. I mean, part of that time I lived out of my truck for 5 years with a duffel bag and a backpack. I mean, literally, man, there was a stint where I was literally homeless. But I found Jesus, man. And, you know, the spiritual awakening that I've had, I've learned that the only thing that matters in life is people. So I do music now because I love it. I don't do it because I've got an agenda. Swear to God, man.
I think it's really funny how often Christ can pull people out of the dumps, you know?
He's like, oh, I'm still living in my car, but I found God now.
This is what happens to dudes that are too good looking and don't have to fight for anything or really put in any effort.
Right.
If you continue this, your life will end up sleeping in a car with a dog or something.
Yeah.
You quite literally atrophy and just end up as a blob in your...
Yeah. And a blob he is not. He's thick, he's large, and as Pat mentioned, off mic, of course, he probably still nails vulva. Is that what you said?
Oh, this guy's still good looking, unfortunately. So he can still show up at bars and he will have sex with a 23-year-old, but that, again, is his Achilles heel.
Yes. It's a fleeting pause from your overall lack of substantial existence.
The best thing that could happen to this guy, get in a car accident and be a quadriplegic, and then you'll find value in life because you have to,
Well, Patrick, he already has God, so I don't think he needs... Okay, let's move on to the bartender. Who was this guy?
Justin Rated R.
Justin Rated R. Mm-hmm. Okay, tell me about him.
He's a bartender now. He actually spends most of his time bartending, in his words. And he stopped wrestling. So back, again, mostly bartending.
Where he's infamous for is he was on Ali Fedorowski's season where she found out he had 4 girlfriends while he was on the show.
And then he ran away from her to not be confronted, but they were in like a courtyard. So like the doors were locked and like he was trying to get out of there. At one point he walks up to a door and there's like a Mexican guy on the other side. And you see him go, no, like not in here, through the door. And then he has to like jump over a hedge in a walking boot. It was quite pathetic. Killer boots, man. Dumb and Dumber.
Here's the good news is now he's doing pretty well. He's a bartender.
Yeah.
And then they end his like hero shot. That in the film biz, people, is your final shot where you're supposed to look good. He's surrounded by like 22-year-old cocktail waitresses or fans or intermingled with both.
Yeah, he said some like thinly veiled misogynistic thing about not having sex with people who aren't up to his standards or something like that. I'm not sure, but he's a great guy. I'm glad he's doing well. All right, let's get to Kalon or Kalen or whatever this horrible first name of a human being, human male is. Now he has a golden doodle. That's always a mark of something somebody who's empty inside. It's a basic breed. You pay too much for it. That breed of dog indicates that somebody has no taste and they're fiscally irresponsible. So let's talk about him. He says that it's dangerous to be alone because you'll fall in love with the silence. In so many words.
You're making that like he was ready to kill himself, but Dylan, he was trying to make the point that, hey, don't ever
Patrick.
get to do your own thing because you'll enjoy it too much, dude.
Patrick.
It was thinly veiled despair.
Yeah, Patrick. You don't think he's going to commit suicide? Have you seen A Star Is Born? The exact same scene. That golden doodle is going to be barking out front of a garage door that's shut. Inside, him hanging. He's playing one-sum golf all the time. That, if you're not over 50 and retired, is the mark of a sociopath. Golf is a communal sport. You do it to get out for a couple hours with your friends, not to do it all the time by yourself.
Well, all right. And to go against myself and to add to your point, my wife and I, after his segment or his package, we looked at each other and said, did they say what his current occupation is?
Right. He was playing at a nice club.
Oh, he's doing well.
Yeah.
He's definitely very invested in his work, but something solo. I mean, I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, he's doing well.
Yeah, he's doing great.
By the way, I just want to remind the audience what he was infamous for was they found out that he was talking about Emily's kid at that point.
Right, yes.
And he said that
They'd be
her kid would be
baggage.
baggage.
Right.
And she said, is my kid baggage? And I believe at that point, didn't she say, get the fuck out of
Yeah,
here?
she should get the fuck out, which is awesome.
I could definitely see Patrick describing children as baggage.
Yeah, 1,000%.
Oh, I've done that.
No, but he's saying you would do it within the confines of a reality show, and the person you would say it to is the person you're trying to win over.
Oh, no,
That's
I
what
got
Nick
it.
said.
Yeah.
Okay, I got it.
Everybody's on the same page.
Okay, great. So,
Do you remember the last Golden Doodle that was on the show?
Of course, it was the gay man's Jack.
Yeah, Jack.
Yeah,
What was his name though? Like, what was his nickname?
yeah. His nickname was something like
Stone.
James
Jack
Bond.
Stone.
Jack Stone. Yes, it was pulling up Mission Impossible for me. That's Ethan Hunt. Of course, he had the name of a spy, the smile of a gay man, and the skin of a vampire. Okay, so let's get to David.
I had a point about Kaylin, but it's not important.
Okay, so let's get to David. Now,
Hot ass wife.
David was the bad boy. The real bad boy. He was very filled with testosterone. He was the archetypal male. He was doing very, very stereotypically male things, athletic competitions, drinking too much. And what are you laughing at?
At one point, he said, if we were anyplace else, we'd tie this guy to a tree and beat the shit out of him.
Right.
But a stereotypical... I thought Chad had the throne. This guy was a meathead.
Right, yeah. So a meathead and a poet. So she, we meet his wife, and he has changed. He is an emotional mess. Now, I think that he's done some pretty horrific shit. I think he may, and this is just conjecture, I think he may have spent some time behind bars because he is so emotionally indebted to this woman. He looks at her and he starts crying.
His wife.
She saved him from something bad, much like Christ saved Wes. Now, there's that, and again, go out on a limb with me. That woman has taken something or someone he loves very deeply and put that person in a room that he cannot find. And he's scared of this woman.
I think she is the typical succubus, and she has just...
Oh, got it.
She has just molded him into the... She saw trash, but she's like, he has the makings. He's big, he's strong. I
Right.
can make him
I can
the
mate with him.
proper husband.
Yeah.
But it's going to backfire because this rage is being bottled up right now, and she is going to end up at least calling 911. At worst, I don't even want to mention it.
Got it. So now let's...
Really petered out there. But
No, it's okay.
it's solid
You can't talk about gratuitous violence like that. This is a fun podcast.
Yeah.
So let's get done with the bad boys. Are going to end our tour at the Bachelor Mansion, and I couldn't help but think it would have been so much funnier if it was in ashes. For those who don't know, we went through a rough little spout of fires in those hills, and the Bachelor Mansion was, in fact, saved from those merciless flames. Why, I don't know. So let's get to the most nauseating part of the episode.
boy.
That is the Absolos. And, it's weird because, we've talked about my love of cynicism, and, sometimes I have this morbid pleasure derived from hatred. I don't know why, but my tank is filled to the brim with hatred every time I fucking see her, and then him, it is just compounded. I mean, I'm spilling over.
Have you mentioned the two people you're referring to?
The Absolos.
The Absolos.
The Absol. We're talking about Rachel and
Do you
Brian.
want to condescend to me again? I said the Absolos.
Oh,
okay?
I just want for the audience that's new.
Rachel, Lindsay, and Brian Absolo. These people are absolutely horrific. Everything about these two disgusts me. What is this collar that he has? What is this collar? Where does this collar come from? Where do you buy these shirts? Where do these people shop?
These two people are together, and they'll continue to be together as long as the cameras keep showing up. Now, I hate Rachel Lindsay, as you know. If you've listened to this podcast...
Because you're a racist.
Because I'm a racist, of course. I can't stand this girl. Although, Rachel, when her season... she helped a lot of young black girls to show them that they could follow their dreams too, to be on TV, to win a contest for a dude who's barely employed, as opposed to following her family.
A fucking lawyer.
A lawyer. Her father is a judge.
Sam.
Do you know what it takes to go to law school, to pass the bar, to have a job, to be gainfully employed as an attorney, and leave all of that behind to go on a reality show and then stand on your fucking high horse
Grandstand.
and preach
Yeah.
to the females watching the show that you too can follow your dreams and be on this show, which is the exact opposite thing that you should be saying. That is why I hate Rachel Lindsay.
So
And by the way, hold on,
said.
shut up, everyone. And all you guys listeners going, Pat's a racist. Say, look, there's all these girls that have been on The Bachelor, like, blah, blah, blah. Why are you hopping on Rachel Lindsay's case? You must be a racist. First off, you know how when someone gets accused of being a racist and you're white and you go, hey, I got some black friends and we used to make fun of that and go like, that doesn't mean you're not a racist. Well, I'll trump you on that, motherfucker. My wife is black. So yes, I get to call a black female out and say she's a fucking dummy. And by the way, I got 6 embryos sitting in a lab with half black kids in it. So fuck you.
All right, let's get to the bridal shower. This is my kind of morning. Cake and naughty gifts. You want to do a little bit of an RC?
I'm not sure what RC stands for.
Say ROLLCALL.
I think I know what you're asking for.
How could you not know?
Are you looking for a roll call?
That's not what I was looking for, but I do want
I don't want you to talk. You have been absent for 45 seconds staring at your phone, pulling up something. God knows what. Pat, roll call.
Roll call. First time for the season. Here's who's there.
No, you can't call it the first time for the season. This starts the next episode. This isn't the season yet.
This is like preseason.
Let me do it again.
You know what? I don't really want to do the roll call. What did you have on your phone?
I have to hear this roll call.
Let's hit the roll call.
Roll call. Becca, Stuart, Garrett, Rachel. We already know how you feel about her. NoHo. I don't. Maybe I misspelled that in my notes. Caitlin, Andy, disregard Desiree, or at least that's how it came on my notes. But disregard Desiree. Emily, Ashley, Allie, Jillian,
Wrong
and
roll
Deanna,
call.
Trista.
Wrong roll call. We're doing the bridal shower.
No ho, maybe I misspelled that. Maybe. B minus. Nick, what were you going to say?
And we discussed doing this off air, and you still don't know what I'm doing. Yelp reviews of the venue for this bridal shower, Pacifique.
Got it.
I've got a Yelp review, all right? This is from Kate H., straight out of Hollywood, Los Angeles, California.
Yep. 2 cities in a state.
118 reviews. Not a psycho, but she's definitely Yelping.
Yep. Thumbs are moving.
And she writes, positioned perfectly in the design corridor of West Hollywood, just off the Sunset Strip, Pacifique is both edgy and elegant in its effect. The heart of 21st century LA lifestyle embodies a fusion of cultures and aesthetics translated in unique ways. Pacifique mirrors the juxtaposition with its minimalist decor sprinkled with some Hollywood flair and streamlined menu filled with eats that will inspire your taste buds. In a city where some of the world's best storytellers live and dine, it's always refreshing to see a creative vision that mirrors this reality in an integrated way. Pacifique tells this story through the use of space, flavors, and attentive service. The contrast of simple space, streamlined menu allows the people and flavors / ingredients to shine. For my first visit, I went in for happy hour to try some bites and drinks. Personally, I have not stopped thinking about the fried chicken app. It's like gourmet Chick-fil-A, perfectly cooked and tender. And the cocktail menu is one of the most exciting I've seen in a while. The bartender was a master mixologist without pretense, and both the manager and host were welcoming and warm. Their spin on the tiki drink is pure magic in taste and experience. I'll def be back for happy hour, parentheses, every day, 5:30 to 7, and all day Monday, close parentheses, and to celebrate special occasions with my friends.
Wow.
So, one, I just want to say, did you say that she wasn't a psycho?
I completely retract that statement. She sounds insufferable.
Right. And anyone who, I understand that there's some good spots around town. You go for value, trying to go out to a fancy place. But if you're going to try to sew this restaurant into the storytelling backdrop and history of this city, don't ever mention a restaurant that has happy hour all day Monday. These places don't have happy hour all day Monday. Musso's, the Palms, Pacific Dining Car. These places don't have happy hour all day Monday.
And to pile on Kate H. even more, this is the absolute worst type of writing. It's drivel masked in flowery language and redundancy. She said nothing to describe the cuisine. She says it's like perfected Chick-fil-A. She compares this place to fast food.
Right.
You are pathetic and know nothing. I consider myself uncultured swine. You, Kate H., are my brethren.
Yeah. So that took a wild turn, but I am so happy that you read that Yelp review for Pacifique.
Still want to check the place out, though.
I do. It does sound okay.
Let's get to the gift that Jerome, excuse me, I'm getting ahead of myself, Brian Absolo hands to his soon-to-be bride. Now, the gift is cool because it lets us in on their pet names, which are Linda and Jerome. Now, these aren't...
We're just completely done with Pacifique. There was no more we wanted to talk about inside.
I mean, we got some naughty gifts. We got some cake. We got some Yelp reviews. I mean, I think we've got our bases covered.
It was just really nice to see Alexis.
Okay, so you stopped me to say that.
I would love to acknowledge Alexis's presence.
Alexis the dolphin.
Yes, we've talked about many times how much we love her. She's there.
Okay.
She's funny.
Hanging in by a thread, by the way.
No, she doesn't give a fuck. She's dating some fucking guy who's got a ton of money. He's all mobbed up. They're pretty
She
serious.
shows up every opportunity where the cameras are.
Because she's fun.
Okay.
So let's get to Linda and Jerome. Now, these pet names are insane. I call my wife Honey. I call my wife Boo. I call her Monkey sometimes.
That's pretty cool.
Those are pet names.
Yep.
Not Linda.
Yeah.
Not Linda.
There's pretentiousness even in their pet names.
Yeah, it's bizarre because they're so stupid. But let's just get to the handkerchief. Now, he gives her a handkerchief for the wedding day because he says that she's going to cry a lot. He doesn't do it with a lot of tact or sweetness or tenderness. He's just like, you're going to cry a lot. The language embroidered in this handkerchief is nothing that will make the heart flutter. This is a child's note to a crush. Bae. Who says bae unironically? Who says that word unironically? Better question, who gets that word embroidered unironically? Who the fuck is calling someone they love bae? This isn't Twitter, Brian. This is real life, man.
Well, in real life, you also pay for your own goddamn rings. You don't just have some guy show up and you pick it out and you act like you bought it for each other.
All right.
Go fuck yourself.
So let's get to the 12 bachelorettes at the mansion with the fans. Pat.
Oh, what would you like, though? Why are you putting that over to me?
Roll call, I think he's looking for, if I had to guess.
Is this going to be our First roll call of the season.
It's absolutely not going to be our first roll call of the season. Our first roll call of the season is next week, so stay tuned for that. It will be wildly different from what you're about to hear.
Roll call! Here's the girls, the Bachelorettes. Becca, Rachel, Caitlin, Andy, Desiree, Emily, Ashley, Allie, Jillian, Deanna, and Trista. I think I forgot one.
So where do we start? They tell some pretty wicked stories.
4 Bachelorettes were missing from this, by the way, just so you know.
Okay. None of these stories I wrote down. I thought this was a very lackluster part of the episode. But if you guys have notes, I'm all ears.
Well, this was probably where the episode took a nosedive. A bunch of filthy, yucky normies walking around that mansion, getting to know these people. And, of course, them all being narcissists at this point. We're all loving that.
Yeah, but I think even the next day is still shitty. You know, like you guys were I was watching it and you
It
were
wasn't
like,
the next day. It was earlier that day.
earlier that day, you guys were like, you got to watch this. They're talking about who they had sex with. They're spilling all this tea. The tea bags are out. The cups are being inverted. The tea's spilling everywhere. I said, do I really? You said, Dylan, the tea's about to be on the floor. You need to pick your head up. You need to start watching this.
It's piping hot. It's all over the floor. You can see it steam.
Guys, you know I don't want to sound like a jerk. But at one point, like 2 of the girls said, you know, we're all bonding right now. We were involved in an experience that no one else can relate to except the 12 of us. And I just started there like, oh, no, that is true, but that should never come out of your mouth unless you like World War II would be something that you'd say.
I was just going to say.
Look, you can't relate to this. I can't talk to my children about this. They'll never understand it. But something tells me that if you are a 12-year-old girl and your mom says, I was the Bachelorette, they could find some common ground.
Right. This isn't a shared experience.
I dated people too.
You can't find a cabin in the woods with your buddies and recall memories of Russian roulette being held as a prisoner of war. You know, that's not.
No, but
Deer Hunter.
Same thing though. Being a Bachelorette, same thing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, anyways, again, I'll say, you know, however much tea hit the floor. I didn't like this part.
It's crazy how we can see the same content, and I just thought it was really fun. I will say, both Patrick and I walked in as you're watching that point, and I think you were blinded by your enthusiasm to get in the studio and start this journey. It was better than you were giving it credit for.
You know, it's weird. This reminds me of Guernica. You know, you can look at something. All right, let's get to Alabama, huh?
Alabama time.
Yeah, let's go see where the beast lives. Now,
so this is where the show ends, and we get to move the fuck on.
Absolutely, Thank you. Let's get to our fucking Bachelorette. Her name is the Beast. She is not blue and hairy, nor is she intelligent. That was a good X-Men joke.
Nor does she live in a castle and needs to find true love to turn back into a prince form.
That's a great one too. So let's talk about Chris Harrison's behavior. It's unacceptable. So
sneaking through her house.
He shows up to her house. He tells her that she looks almost perfect, which is something that would come out of a sorority member's mouth to a pledge or something like that. It was very Mean Girl-like. You're almost perfect. Disgusting. And then he proceeds to snoop around her home and make fun of her family members' looks via photo booths. Mm-hmm. No, excuse me. Photo books, photo albums.
Well, just coming into this, I knew her mom was going to be overweight. Most beauty contestant moms are hideous.
Right.
Because they
think Mama June.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. They like to live vicariously through their...
Yes. So they pack on the weight.
Yeah.
And they prop up the offspring.
You know, what's not helping with the weight is Bama Jammas.
The place they went to.
Yeah.
They actually went to Ramajamas?
Ramajamas, excuse me. I have Mamma Jamma written down, and I said that can't be right.
It's Ramajamas in Bama.
Got quite a big ham steak there. Now, it is a big ham steak, but you know, Chris, city dweller, city boy, Yankee says, "What was the size of that pig?" Chris, you fucking idiot. You have any fucking idea how big ham steaks can get? That was a 6 out of 10. 6 out of 10. I bet you, Bama Jammas has much bigger ham steaks.
Please stop disrespecting Bama Jammas.
Can you give us the review? Do you have a Yelp review of Bama Jammas?
I do, and I found it just the great flip side of the coin of Pacifique.
Right.
This one for Ramajamas, a hotbed of pre-Alabama football game
Yep.
eats, comes from Renee C., who traveled all the way from Manhattan, New York. So it had to be for a football game. She writes, the quote-unquote boss man treats his employees terribly.
Oh.
He treated a lady working with disrespect while we all were sitting at the table right next to him. We all felt very uncomfortable, ! I could not leave until I knew the lady was safe from the environment. He embarrassed her and the other 2 guys he had working for him. I was appalled. He talked down to her and was very rude, appearing racist. My family will never go back. I hope he learned something from this. We are all one and need to be treated and respected.
Hey, look, first off, if she says it, you have to believe her. I mean, that's what I've come to realize.
Yeah.
However, maybe the guy was a manager. I mean, sometimes you do some bad hiring. How'd she know it was the owner? I mean, did he have a picture on the wall that says proud owner and then she could identify him? Maybe
He had a name tag that said Mr. Ramajama.
Yeah, I think that if this was possibly in the Northwest or maybe in Maine or something like that, I could buy that. But given that this is in, let's call it the Gomorrah of Sodom and Gomorrah, Alabama and Kentucky, I think are the 2 stinkiest shitholes in this country. I think this could probably have happened because God knows the hatred and heat bubbling up in that state that's known as Alabama. He's sitting down with her and he looks at the stadium, the shrine that all of the mouth breathers in that state worship at.
Roll Tide.
He says, hey, you could be married at this time next year. And it was so funny, you could tell that she has not even considered it. She's like, oh, yeah. Becca.
And then she goes, isn't it funny how life... Long pause, and he's like, works? Sign of things to come.
Yeah.
She's going to be great.
Let's go meet the dad, though. He looks like Eric Stone Street's character in Modern Family fucked Sam Elliott. The cuffs around the bottom of his shirt are absolutely magnificent. And he's one of those hairdressers that... you pay those exorbitant amounts of money for the haircuts that really look like nothing happened. Like people sit down. To me, like that's how black haircuts are. Like you sit down and they like do the little lines and like the fades, and I'm just like, you look the same exact as you did when you sat down. I don't understand how this works.
Famously in Coming to America, in the barbershop, King, whatever his face, he just had one little tail on the back of his head cut off, and that was the end of the haircut.
Right. I think that's the kind of thing that they're making fun of. The thing that I'm talking about right now.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Phew.
It's funny you bring up an Elliott, because his dad reminded me of Chris Elliott playing the butler in Scary Movie.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't have remembered Chris Elliott's name as the character in that movie if it wasn't for Patrick, off mic, of course, when I made the same comparison. I didn't want to steal your thunder on that.
Oh, no. I actually, his name, if he's going to be on the show more, his name's Flabio. Me, he looks like Fabio.
That's very good.
Any broad listening to this show over 40, you know who I'm talking
we've
about.
said so many times to eliminate that word from your vocabulary. It's a little off-putting to call women broads. And, you were making strides for a while there, and it looks like we've taken a little bit of a break, and you're right back on that horse, huh?
We have regressed.
I gotta be me.
We have regressed quite a bit. And I think most people under 40 also know who Fabio is. He's pretty ubiquitous. But the dad did make that joke himself. He called his hair the Robbio.
Oh,
his name's Rob.
That's
okay.
right. Mm-hmm.
So let's wrap this episode. They give us a preview, but we'll have the entire season to break down. Speaking of the entire season, we are so freaking excited to get back in the stew and give you guys the hottest freaking Bachelor podcasts in the known universe.
I feel like this is finally our season.
This is it. This is our season.
I finally feel like we're getting there, man. Mm-hmm.
Call us Malcolm Gladwell, because we're at a tipping point, fellas.
My favorite thing about us is that we don't get better. We just keep doing it.
I disagree. Although we were pretty fire in our early episodes too, so you have a point. It's hard. It's all you can do is plateau when you start at the peak.
Remember, join us on Facebook.com/groups or something. Just look up another Bachelor podcast. Join us there. All the baby birds are there, mixing it up, hot tea, hot goss, all that fun stuff. Also,
I didn't know birds hibernated. We've been dormant in the group, but it's about to come back.
Wow.
It's about to come back with a vengeance. There's already been some of the
oldies,
the long-standing members of the flock mixing shit up.
Yeah, the tried and true, the teens.
Way go, Lucas Dube. Spilling tea in there. Yeah. Hey, dope.
Hell of a voice crack you had there, buddy. All right, lastly, we need you guys. Baby birds, jump out of the nest, hit the ground, bounce up, head to the ratings and reviews, leave us 5 stars and just glowing words. We're welcome and we're open to criticism, but please don't leave anything less than 5. And you don't need to leave a review. Just hit 5, walk away. Lastly, Instagram at
Another Bachelor podcast.
Nick puts up just the funniest stories. Go back and peruse the old videos. The video about smut, hilarious. The video about Colton's wardrobe, hilarious. All of this great stuff coming at you with the new season of The Bachelorette and Another Bachelor podcast. Guys, it's a new season. That means nuance. That means new segments. You know how we have general thoughts? Time for closing thoughts. Nick, closing thoughts. Look forward to the season. Look back on the episode we had tonight.
Again, I've said it many times, but I'm excited to start this journey, and everybody's coming with us, all right?
Yeah.
And we're going to...
Chew.
Hannah B, it's going to be a beautiful train wreck.
Yeah.
It could just be beautiful. I don't know. I have a little bit of faith. I'm not cynical.
What?
I wanted to say I'm not cynicism. I'm not cynicism embodied. All right. I have faith in Hannah B. It's going to be fun.
Yeah.
I'm glad we're back in the stew.
Yeah, no, I'm really, really happy we're back in the stew too. And like you said, of course, this season's going to be a beautiful train wreck. There's going to be a lot of pain. There's going to be a lot of awkwardness.
Are you giving closing thoughts before Patrick?
Oh yeah, great. Have Pat go. Hey, Pat.
Brevity is the mother of skill. I will agree with Nick.
What did you just say? What did you just say?
Do you think it is the saying what you said?
Brevity is the mother of skill, no?
No, necessity is the mother of invention. Brevity is the soul of wit.
Or as I once tweeted, brevity is the soul of twit.
Either of those work. Here's my thoughts. I thought Hannah was a horrible choice, but given our last 2 examples, Becca and Rachel, who I hated, I think Hannah will be really fun to watch.
Guys, I am really, really excited for this season. I completely agree with you. The beauty of this season is going to be in how fucking terrible it is. Buckle up. It's going to be a fun ride. We're going to get some hot reality television. My name's Dylan. Saying goodbye, Nick. Say goodbye.
It's going to be a fun ride. What's that from? Randy Moss song.
Patrick, say goodbye.
Bye, guys.
It's a beautiful ride.